Now, folks, one of the most outrageous claims being made by liberal scholars today is that the 27 books that now make up the canon of the New Testament were chosen for political reasons, not because these books were known and accepted by all Christians. Some far-left scholars claim that later Christians purposely suppressed other books and gospels about Jesus that depicted Jesus in a far different way than Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. One of the books they claim was purposely kept out of the canon was the Gospel of Thomas. But Dr. Habermas shows such claims are simply not true, that the Gospel of Thomas wasn't even in existence before 150 AD, and all the books in the New Testament were written before 90 AD. So the book of Thomas couldn't be part of the canon. I want you to listen.
You know, John, this is one of the questions that really kind of sets me off. Now, we have Gospels. We have those little creedal passages in Acts. We have Paul. Critics are willing to give us Paul, almost carte blanche for those 5, 6, 8 epistles that are considered genuine epistles. We've got to argue our way for those little creeds in Acts and for some of the Gospels. But this is obviously the traditional canon. And critics want to get you on other grounds. Now, I'm not talking about the modern critics, but let's go over with the Jesus Seminar people. They want to tell you that we kept other books out of the canon by a political move. And the other sources are there, but we wanted a single Jesus, so we orchestrated what was going to be in the canon and what wasn't. And why didn't we include things like the best case scenario is made for the Gospel of Thomas, which is a sayings document, a little over 100 sayings of Jesus, something like Q. That's what they say. Now, why do we keep something out? Let's make Thomas our test case here. Why do we keep that out of the canon? Couple things I want to say here. Number one, no matter what you do with other books, you still have to deal with the evidence from A, Paul, B, little creeds and Acts, C, Gospels. Whether there are other books or not, you have to deal with this. And after all, Paul is the early apostle. Peter is the early apostle. James, the brother of Jesus, is the early apostle. Thomas, this is called a sayings book, but nobody believes it's written by the apostle Thomas. So the traditional canon is there for a reason. It's more authoritative. What does more authoritative mean? It's written by the guys who were in the closest proximity to Jesus. Now, how about this thing that there's a political move and you want to keep the other books out, like Thomas? Let me tell you something. There's no political move involved because there weren't books at that time, like Thomas, that could be kicked out of the canon. They didn't decide, Mark, you're in, Gospel of Thomas is out, because Gospel of Thomas didn't even exist at that time. The Jesus Seminar is in a distinct minority when they want to say Thomas comes back to 50. And you know what? I can show you some of their documents where they first said Thomas is perhaps 90 AD, and then 50 AD. You know why it appears there? They need some other documents that they can put in the 50s to say they're rivals. Everybody else has Thomas in the 2nd century. The reason nobody made a decision against Thomas in 50, 60, 80, 90 AD is because there's no Thomas, according to the vast majority of scholars. So there's no orthodox canon where the people say, this is it. We're only going to take this stuff and we'll throw everything out. There's a main reason for this. Evangelicals would be laughed out of court if we said, we've got a book. It's about 100 years late, 2nd century, but we like it, so we're going to bring it back to the canon. You know what they'd say? Don't you think 100 years is just 150-ish AD is just a little too late to be an early source for Jesus? That's what Thomas is. The reason it's rejected in the canon is because it's late, not because they didn't like the politics, they didn't like the Jesus. We have a bunch of floating Jesuses around. You can't show that. You can't show there's an authoritative Jesus that is not the one that's represented by his apostles, like Paul, Peter, James. It's not there because it's not physically existing, and I'm speaking about the Gospel of Thomas.